Hello everyone, welcome back to some more of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Last time, a lot of things happened. First off, we found out that there was not one, not two, but 3 shots fired that night. Unfortunately, let's see, 1 shot was used to kill Mr. Windibank, another shot was fired into the wall, and 1 more shot was fired into Sholmes' pouch, hitting him. And we have that 3rd bullet here. The issue is, though, we have 3 bullets accounted for, but only 2 guns. In other words, there was either another person at the crime scene or something. However, yeah, so it seems like there was another gun at the crime scene, maybe another person that took the gun or whatever. And in that case, it seems the witnesses might have been lying, so the judge called them back. He suspended the summation examination and called them back. In other news, we got the music box disc back, and we found out that if we go to the sample portfolio, the blood on it is the same as the blood that is on the calendar here. And we know that, that guy, that white suit guy, Eggert Benedict, scraped his hand. So this green blood must be his. Alright, yeah, that's about it. So, yeah, let's continue.
Witnesses!
Governor!
Were you listening to proceedings while the defense carried out the summation examination?
We was, Governor, we was.
Perhaps we can dispense with the tedious preamble. Simply answer this one question. A 3rd bullet has been identified at the scene of the crime. What do you make of that?
Make of it, Gov. I don't make nothing of I can help it.
Is it one of yours?
God blimey, Gov, God blimey, not a chance.
In that case, did you have an accomplice?
What? Never. The Skulkin brothers work alone.
It's just the 2 of us. That's our trademark.
Wasn't it the 3 of you before? How soon we forget poor Sulky.
Only 2 of the bullets from the crime scene originated from the firearms which we have in evidence. The 3rd bullet was fired from another gun. Where is it?
Lummy, that's an head scratcher.
Counsel for the defense.
Yes?
I should like to hear your thoughts regarding these new developments. The 3rd bullet and the mysterious missing firearm from whence it came.
Thinking back over all the testimony we've heard and all the evidence we've seen, I think I'm starting to form a picture. A picture of what really happened that night. My lord, I think it's clear what this 3rd bullet tells us about the Skulkin brothers. Yeah. If they had another gun, they would find it, and we would have found it, and this clearly has something to do with them, so they had to have a secret accomplice. On that night in Windibank's pawnbrokery, the brothers must have been working with a 3rd man. The witnesses are clearly doing their best to cover up the existence of this accomplice. But the evidence all points to the fact that there was someone else present. Someone carrying a gun.
Objection!
An accomplice, you say? Pigswill. These protracted proceedings have already forced us to endure 2 summation examinations. Yet in all that time, there has been not a murmur of a 3rd man. If this apparently wrath-like being exists, the court must be shown hard evidence. Without it, this fantasy will The prosecution demands answers on 2 counts. Firstly, proof, evidence that this accomplice was ever at the scene of the crime. And secondly, the identity of the spurious character.
The Skulkins are lying, I know that. But how can I ascertain the identity of the person they're hiding?
Well, Counsel,
I'm supposed to prove the existence of this accomplice, and reveal this person's identity even. In response to the prosecution's demands, my lord, the defense is... Okay, what does he need? We know he needs, proof that the accomplice was there, and B, and B, oh right, sorry, I'm trying to think, I'm trying to look at everything. B was, who exactly are they? Okay, Okay, let me save here to make sure I get the right stuff. I think we are ready though, because we already have everything we need, so it's not like a thing, you know. Let us... The defense is ready. I believe I can provide all the answers the prosecution demands.
So, my Nipponese friend, despite the swimming eyes, you seem to think you have something to say. This promises to be interesting.
I have to push forward now. There's no other option. I need to use every single piece of evidence available to me if it will make a difference.
in that case, Counsel, I would ask you to present the evidence without delay. On the night in question, in the moments leading up to the death of the victim, what proof have you that there was a third intruder present at the scene?
Alright, I guess the blood sample portfolio. The evidence is right here, in this portfolio. Wait.
By Jove! That portfolio again, is it?
Let me see, I think there was a part where they were, like, asking, like, what page or whatever. Or was that, I think that was all in, I think that was all the way in case 1, wasn't it? Yes. Whatever. Anyways. Okay. So I guess, what, 4-1. Alright.
Do you expect the court to rifle through your papers itself? Be more specific. You claim that one of those blood samples proves the presence of this third intruder. Well, which one is it?
I guess this one.
Take that!
It's where another bullet is, so...
What am I looking at here? There appears to be some green paint or such like around the bullet hole in the middle of the calendar.
That's a bloodstain, my lord.
A bloodstain?
Green blood. Curious, even for you. Is the court to understand that this intruder was some unhuman creature?
It's something developed by Mr. Herlock Sholmes. By the great detective! New invention. Stop. Not yet appeared in stories. Stop.
It's this, you see? It doesn't have a name yet, though. This fogger sprays a chemical that reacts with different elements in people's blood to change its color.
Different elements of people's blood?
Yes. Everyone's blood is slightly different, you see, because it's made of different elements. So, by seeing what color it changes to, you can tell in a flash whose blood it is.
Ooh, that brings a whole extra dimension to looking at blood. Talk of blood in courtroom. Stop. Very exciting. Stop. As an example, this one shows the blood of the victim, Mr. Windibank.
Ah, a striking blue.
Yes, so you see the green color of this bloodstain on the calendar shows that somebody else was shot in the main part of the shop. Now the father, young man. Could be from some unrelated incident, couldn't it? No, it's not unrelated. The date shown on the calendar is the date on which Mr. Windibank was killed. By golly! Therefore, we can assume that whoever was shot on the same day.
And whose blood is it?
Well, the Skulkin brothers in the stand don't appear to be suffering from any gunshot injuries, which means it must be the blood of somebody else. The third intruder, in fact.
Objection!
Whose identity the court is still waiting to hear. You can't delay this any longer, my learned friend. Who is this alleged third intruder?
Well, who else, right?
Take that!
The man's name is Eggert Benedict.
Eggert Benedict? Who on earth are you talking about, Counsel?
He paid a visit to Windibank's pawnbrokery on the afternoon before the incident took place.
When the accused attempted to deceive the pawnbroker into releasing this article into her possession.
That's right. The man identified by the defense, Mr. Eggert Benedict, then attempted to take the article from the defendant by force. What voice did I give him again?
Brokaw. Yes, sir.
I believe this filthy pocket thief has just redeemed an article from you, no?
Yes.
The article in question belongs to me. I demand for it to be returned at once.
Now that's a lie. What are you trying to pull?
Give me back my overcoat, you wastrel. And needless to say, any music box discs too.
There, that's his voice now. I don't care what it sounded like before. That sounds better to me. Inspector Gregson was there at the time and can attest to what happened. In the end, it was the inspector himself who took the disc.
Can you corroborate this account, Inspector?
Yes, my lord. That's more or less what happened. In the interest of being thorough, I asked Windibank for a print showing the fellow. Taken from one of his red-handed recorder's governess.
Yes, that's him talking to Mr. Windibank that morning.
And you claim this man is the brothers' accomplice?
Well, Mr. and Mr. Skulkin?
Never seen the geezer before in my life. On my life, Gov, on my life. Never seen him.
Well, somewhat unsurprisingly, it appears our witnesses disagree with the assertion.
I'm sure your lordship recalls my learned Nipponese friend's actual assertion, which was that he could prove the identity of the alleged accomplice.
Yes, and I can. Then show us the evidence.
I agree. We must see proof that the clean-cut gentleman in the photograph is the filthy criminal you say he is.
This is the last piece of evidence. I've had a feeling that something has been missing in this trial from the very start. But now, I'm gonna drag it, kicking and screaming into the courtroom.
Are you ready to present your answer to the court then, counsel?
Yes, my lord. The defense will present the evidence now. Proof that the man pictured in this photographic print was in fact the person struck by the third bullet. Say it with me now, everyone. Once more. The blood samples portfolio. That proof is right here, in this portfolio.
Good gracious, Counsel! Does that portfolio contain the answers to every question posed?
I see you've shared my interest in claret or claret? I don't know. Colored liquids, my Nipponese friend. But enough. The court demands to see further evidence. Which blood sample proves the man you identified was the one shot by the third bullet at the scene of the crime?
Well, that's easy. This one.
Take that!
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, for like the last minute or two, I've been trying to clear my throat because Van Zeeks' voice literally destroys it every time. Oh well. As I mentioned before, on the afternoon of the day in question, the defendant attempted, deceitfully admittedly, to reclaim this disc from Windibanks.
Which is when the aforementioned Egbert Benedict appeared on the scene, I believe. This man then attempted to purloin the article from the defendant's possession, no?
That's correct, my lord. I myself was present at the time. It was following this that a minor incident occurred.
But of course, sir. Here's the disc for you.
Very well. Then I shall bid you farewell. Say goodbye to style. Wait a minute. That disc is mine. Ah, what do you think you're doing, you little tramp? You've drawn blood, you filthy animal. Being a music box disc, it has countless small but sharp metal protrusions over its surface. Those protrusions caused Mr. Benedict's finger to bleed, and the result, a distinct smear of blood, is still visible on the disc now.
Goodness, a bloodstain, is it?
My assistant and I have just analyzed the bloodstain here in this very courtroom.
Using my trusty fogger gun.
Yes, and we added the results to this portfolio. I say, it's green. It's exactly the same color as the blood around the calendar. The evidence is conclusive. The man calling himself Mr. Egbert Benedict, who was in Windibanks earlier in the day, is the accomplice who was present at the scene of the crime that night.
Well, there was someone else there.
Look at the two brothers now. They're sweating buckets. Oi, who you talking about? It's boiling in here.
My lord, it is the opinion of the defense that Mr. Egbert Benedict should be summoned to the courtroom to testify.
It would certainly seem that we can ill afford to ignore this gentleman's apparent presence.
Objection!
This has gone on long enough now. This flagrant ignorance of the mechanics of law. Herlock Sholmes, you say? Yes, I've heard the name. The protagonist in a series of short stories for the vulgar classes. A god of detection, or some such. And now you employ chemical substances devised by this fantastical persona in the highest court in the land. Do you expect us to take you seriously? The samples made by this plaything are not fit to be called evidence. So the bloodstain turned a shade of green. What of it? Here's to you successfully proving that no other blood in the world would turn the same color.
Well...
And pray, do not even think of suggesting that we should take Mr. Sholmes' word for it.
Is he right? Is Mr. Sholmes' concoction not out of rubbish?
I don't know. I mean, he is a great detective.
What are you talking about? We can't let him get away with that.
I knew it would come to this. Of course, Mr. Sholmes' invention isn't going to be recognized by any official body. But, what other choice did I have?
I'm just remembering what Father Christmas over there said before.
Jeez. Hey, wait a second. Father Christmas? It's like November 20... sorry. Someone was at my door. As I was saying, Father Christmas, yeah? It's November 25th now. We got like a month, bro.
About how he was temporarily suspending the summation examination.
Ah,
In other words, the examination isn't over yet, is it?
Good grief! What did you just say, young girl?
And in a summation examination, the decision as to whether or not the trial continues is in the hands of the 6 jurors, isn't it? So, the way I see it, it doesn't matter what certain other people think of Hurley's invention. At least, not for now.
yes. She's right.
Young lady, you have quite the devious mind.
It really just comes down to one thing. Whether or not these ladies and gentlemen of the jury are convinced by what you say, Runo. Is that about right, would you say? Or did I misunderstand something?
Unbelievable. Mr. Sholmes' partner is a force to be reckoned with.
Iris Wilson, sharpshooter.
After that shrewd process of the situation from an entirely unexpected source, it must be acknowledged that the previous summation examination has yet to reach its conclusion.
This is absurd!
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the court now looks to you for your final leanings in the matter. As proud citizens of Her Majesty's Britain, I'm sure you will come to fair and just conclusions. So then, state your final decisions in turn, please.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Guilty.
Yeah?
Guilty!
Yeah?
Not guilty.
What is he guilty for? Matter of fact, wasn't she a fan of Sholmes? What? Okay,
2 call guilty and 4 call not guilty. Such is the outcome of the summation examination.
Objection!
My lord, with all due respect, this is an outrage. The prosecution refuses to accept this decision.
On what grounds?
If these jurors are persuaded by some half-baked concoction devised by a pretender to put real police work, then they are too ignorant to be trusted with the judgment of anyone's guilt.
Word to the wise, better not insult the jury when they're the ones deciding things.
I'm sorry, Lord Van Zieks, but the outcome of the summation examination cannot be ignored. This trial will continue. Nevertheless, we find ourselves in a rather awkward situation. The defense has very reasonably requested a subpoena of a new witness. But sadly, I fear that will be impossible.
What?
The name that the gentleman gave for himself, Agat Benedict, is quite clearly false.
I don't believe it. Just when I'd managed to prove the man was there that night. Could I say something?
Who was that, please? Who spoke?
It was me, my lord. Juror number 5?
What have you to say, madam?
If possible, Inspector.
Me, ma'am?
I wonder if you might show the photographic print to me again. The one in which the gentleman was shown.
Right, yes. This one you mean? Of Mr. Benedict?
Yes. There's no doubt in my mind. Juror number 5? You don't mean to say you know this man? Yes, I know him. What?
No!
Good gracious! Order! Order! Juror number 5. How on earth?
I'm a communications officer. Stop. As we can clearly see, the gentleman in the photograph is... Stop. Also a communications officer. Stop. He works in my office. Stop. Yeah, literal positive ID. A very talented operator, in fact. Stop. You should be in the communication station now. Stop. Tapping away on the telegraph. Stop. This doesn't seem right somehow. I can't put my finger on why, but it doesn't feel right. Yeah, literally. Everyone in this room is involved in the case somehow. Seriously. The jurors, well, one is Mr. Garrett, which, I mean, we've seen him before, so, whatever. The next is juror number 2, which we saw not only back in the original McGilded trial, but also, in that stereoscope a few episodes ago. That's 1. 2, then juror number 3, I'm pretty sure we saw him in the first trial, or maybe in the last trial, but he was like doing something different. What else? Juror number 4 we definitely saw last trial, because he's the one that slipped and busted his head on ice. And then, what's it called, Bolshevik over there is like, okay, well, I guess he's the only one that's not related to the case, but he's related to, I guess, the previous case? Whatever. Point is, we know everyone here, and it's weird.
I suppose we all imagined the accomplice would be some sort of hardened criminal. It's a bit unexpected to find out that he has a respectable job by day, whatever he gets up to at night.
Yes, I suppose that's it. I suppose that's why I felt something was wrong.
If the gentleman is at London's communication station, we should be able to subpoena him within the hour. Lord Van Zeeks, if you please.
Yes, my lord.
Make the necessary arrangements with all haste.
As your lordship bids.
The court will recess for 1 hour. When the new witness arrives, we shall reconvene to hear the gentleman's testimony. Inspector Gregson?
Yes, my lord.
I should like to hear from you specifically about events at the pawnbrokery on the day in question. Come to my chambers during the recess.
Yes, sir, my lord.
Very well. Court is adjourned until 1:40 p.m.
Great. Just great. Let's save our progress, please. Save it in slot 4. That's what we've been doing everything in before. Wait a second, what? Huh. I guess 1 was my mate save? Whatever. I was confused why there was like 2 and not 1. Whatever. 17th of April, 12:41 p.m. The Old Bailey, defendant's antechamber. 12. Oh, okay, so we have an hour. That's good. Gina, how are you holding up? I'm starting to feel quite warmly toward our frequent cold shoulders now.
Ginny! Are you alright? Why aren't you saying anything?
What's the point, huh? Why go to all this trouble and fight so hard for the likes of me?
What?
Well, you saw it. A picture. What picture?
Ah, you mean this? The photograph taken by Hurley's red-handed recorder? Well, I didn't think he would have captured a scene like this, that's for sure.
It's hopeless. Anyone who's seen this is gonna think I did it, ain't they? Well, I won't pretend it wasn't a bit of a shock when the prosecution first presented it to the court. Sure, you gotta have your doubts about me now. You can't still think I'm innocent. Of course I can. Huh.
Ginny, why don't you talk to us? Tell us what really happened that night.
Eh?
Rudolph cleverly managed to piece together a lot of new information, but still, we'd really like it to hear from you.
Alright then. It was after we had that dinner together at your place, right, Iris? Then, we all had a chat up in your office, didn't we? Yes, I remember. After that, I just couldn't get to sleep. So, I slipped out and went down the street to the 2-to-1, to Winterbank's place. I had to know if Iris' store was there or not. The Hound of the Baskervilles. I don't know what it's about or nothing, but if you ask me, there's something in it that Sholmes don't like. Something what he don't want people reading. So that's why he lied to Iris about sticking it in the lug with Winterbank for safekeeping. At least, that's what I thought at the time. So you broke into Winterbank's? You broke into Winterbank's? I just had to know if it was there or not. I mean, I had no idea all that was going to pick off, did I? I struck the lock and stuck inside. It was dark as you like in there. So I gave the old lamp on the counter a bit of wick. And that's when...
What do you think you're doing?
Yeah? Wait a second. If you're sneaking into a place that's dark, why even light the lamp? Like, if it's too dark for you to see... Like, the place has windows, right? So, if it's too dark for you to see... hide somewhere and let your eyes adjust to the light or to the dark. That way you can see a bit better, right? Because if you just shine a light and thing, anyone from a mile away is gonna see it, or anyone inside the store and even outside the store is gonna see it. Whatever. I nearly died. I did, and the next thing I knew, I'd grabbed the gun off the counter and was waving it in the air like, I don't know what.
Oh, you're the girl who was in here this afternoon. I didn't think pickpockets went in for armed robbery.
The manuscript. Have you got it here? Did Sholmes leave a load of papers with you? A story?
I beg your pardon?
The Hound of the something or other. If it's there, I want to see it.
I'm sorry, young lady,
but I'd sooner die than relinquish an article belonging to one of my customers. I don't want it. What would I do with it anyway? I just want to see it's here, that's all.
Oh, you want to see it, do you?
I want to know if Sholmes really pawned it there or not. Please, just let me see it and I'll go.
Oh, very well then. But for pity's sake,
stop waving my gun around, would you? So then the old cove unlocked the storeroom room door, and we both went inside. And it was alright, the manuscript. Sholmes weren't lying after all.
You did all that just to check for me, Ginny?
Anyway, then there was a bit of a kick-up out in the main bit of the shop. The Skulkin brothers arriving on the scene. Yes. What was that noise? Someone's breaking in.
dear me. Is there some burglars convention here tonight that I don't know about?
I think I've forgotten to shut the door behind me. Sorry.
I'd better go and take care of it.
Could I possibly have my gun back? Oh, well, I'll come with you, and... Now don't be foolish, young girl. You must stay right here. Don't leave this room under any circumstances. And with that, he took the gun out of my hands and walked back out into the shop. I am back at the storeroom, like he said, straining my ears in the dark to hear what was going on. It sounded like they got into a bit of a scrap. I started to think I should help, see? So I was just about to go out the storeroom myself, when... 2 shots. Interesting. I heard a couple of shots go off. 2, I think. Almost at the same time. And then there he was, right at my feet, lying face down on the floor. I was right next to him on the storeroom door, so I slammed it shut and locked it quick as you like. Because you thought whoever shot Mr. Winterbank might come for you? Yeah. So I went to grab the old cove's gun. I figured I'd put up a fight at least. But when I got a bad look at him, I knew. Winterbank was a goner. I felt funny in my head all of a sudden, kinda dizzy. And after that, I don't remember nothing. 'Cause she fainted then, that's right. That must be when you passed out, Gina. If I hadn't done what I'd done, the old cove might still be alive. Did you tell the police everything you just told us? Of course I did. But they didn't believe a word of it, did they? All they said was, if I kept telling lies, it'd make things even worse for me.
It'll be alright, Jenny. Don't worry. Just stay strong a little longer. Runa's about to pull the real culprit through the mill.
That culvert was there in the afternoon? That Edgar Benedict? I still remember how he looked at me, like I was nothing. He was there that night. We don't know his real name yet, but I'm convinced that he's involved somehow. Anyway, thank you for telling us what happened, Gina. I appreciate your honesty. You what?
You can leave it all in Runo's capable hands now, Jenny.
Mr. Naruto. Yes? How come you trust me? I don't get it. I mean, have you forgotten what happened here before? Come on, it was only 2 months ago. Me and McGilded, we told you all pack of lies. And you got the bog trot off with him, even though he was a killer. No, I could never forget that. Oh. I did what I thought was best at the time. But the pain of that error of judgment doesn't get any easier to bear. Still, don't forget that I also made you a promise. I told you that I'd be on your side to the bitter end, no matter what. But what if I'm lying? You could be working to get another killer off the hook for all you know. I was once in your position, Gina. I was the accused in a trial. You were? Before I left Japan, I was accused of murder. And strange as it might sound, the circumstances of the crime were pretty damning. I was sure that no one would ever believe it was me who'd done it.
Oh, Runo.
But there was one person who stood up for me, who believed in me, and was prepared to defend me. My best friend.
Ryunosuke, no one believes in you more than I do. Leave this to me. All you need to do is put your faith in me, and I'll do the rest.
I was so happy I cried. Not even then. Somewhere inside me, I couldn't help thinking, surely he doesn't really believe in me. Not completely. But I was wrong. As soon as my trial began, it was obvious that he had an absolute, unwavering belief in me. And in turn, I developed an absolute, unwavering belief in him. Since then, I came to realize, if you want someone to believe in you, you gotta believe in the other person first. What are you saying? I promise you, Gina, that no matter what happens, I'll keep believing in you. So, you don't need to worry. I won't let you down. Even though I'm a diver and a no good liar, you're not like McGilden. I know that.
That's right! You're our friend, Ginny!
Iris. We know you better than you think. And we've come to the conclusion that you're someone we can trust.
Yes,
That's really all we need to know.
exactly!
Mr. Naruto, I...
Defendant Gina Lestrade and her legal representative. Court proceedings are about to resume. Please head into the courtroom immediately.
There's no way that took an hour. That entire conversation took an hour. It literally took, what, 10, 20 minutes right now? There's no way that could have literally taken over an hour. Did you go and recount every detail, Ryunosuke? Like... Yes, of course. Thank you. I'd been both a defendant and a defending lawyer in my time. So, I knew only too well just how hard it was to put all your faith in another. And I also knew just how hard it was to bear the burden of another putting all their faith in you. This is it at last. The final chapter. The final battle. Wish me luck, Susato-san. And I hope you're watching over me too, partner. Alright. 17th of April, 1:41 p.m. The Old Bailey courtroom.
I hereby call this court to order as we resume the trial of Miss Gina Lestrade. Lord Van Zieks, have you successfully subpoenaed the witness?
The subpoena was delivered to the communication station where the man works immediately, my lord. However, the heavy rain has delayed the arrival of the carriage, it seems.
I see. Then let us turn our attention to Inspector Gregson's process of the case heard by the court this morning. The glaring omission of the third bullet in your report is a serious blunder, Inspector.
Yes, I can only apologize, my lord.
And although the defense's chemical analysis of the blood at the scene makes for a compelling argument, I cannot permit such untried methods to be used as evidence in my courtroom.
It's a big mistake to cross Hurley and me. A very big mistake.
Who is this random guy here?
My lord, your subpoenaed witness has just arrived in the building. Thank you, officer. Show him to the stand without delay.
Mr. Eggert Benedict. I didn't expect to be crossing paths with him again so soon, and certainly not like this. Well, the Four Stooges.
Thank you for complying with the court subpoena at such short notice, sir. But of course, my lord, as an upstanding member of the London Society, it is my pleasure to oblige. Now, kindly state your name and occupation for the record. Ashley Graydon, Communications Officer.
Mr. Graydon and I both work at London's Central Communication Station.
Now, perhaps somebody would kindly explain what this is all about.
You were apprised of the situation by the court officer on your way here, I presume?
Yes, I was. Something to do with a murder that took place at a pawnbroker on Baker Street. And some nonsense about me having been there on the night in question.
That is the accusation indeed.
This really is beyond a joke, you know.
Very well. Without further delay, the court will hear your testimony now, Mr. Graydon. You will respond to the accusation made against you under oath.
Gladly, my lord, gladly.
Yeah? What was that? Alright.
Naturally, I have the occasion to make use of some pawnbroking services from time to time. But are you seriously suggesting that I colluded with these thugs to break into the place on the night of the murder? I have no intention of admitting to such outrageous accusations. Even if certain parties here present claim my blood was found at the scene. Some scaramouth detective's homebrew tincture can be hardly taken as serious evidence.
So, you denied the accusation completely, do you?
I must say, I am dismayed. For the highest court in the land to be swayed by this self-professed detective's toy.
It was the will of the jury. In our great British justice system that demands the jury's will is upheld.
Then it would seem we have the misfortune of a most inept assembly of jurors today.
Yeah, bro?
By golly.
How long am I expected to be detained here?
If, following the defense's cross-examination, your involvement in this matter has not been established, you will be free to leave immediately.
Good. Then I shall be away in time for afternoon tea. Some small consolation at least.
Let us not hold Mr. Graydon up any longer than necessary, counsel. Proceed with the cross-examination.
So, we meet again, Mr. Egbert Benedict. Or is it Mr. Graydon?
My apologies. You are...
Ryunosuke Naruhodo, defense lawyer. We have met.
If you say so, Ashley Graydon. Enchanté.
So,
I trust we can conclude this quickly.
but I'm not holding your flashy hat as we do. Well, at least it's not his hair. The accusation. Alright. Time, we don't need that. Are you seriously suggesting that I colluded with these thugs to break in?
Hold it!
Have you seen these two men before?
This pair? No, I don't associate with criminals.
Said by a man who introduced himself as Egbert Benedict.
I'd like to know who I have to thank for this. Who made this outlandish accusation against me?
The young lawyer there in black.
This is a farce. Whose idea was it to permit an outsider to work in a British court anyway? Well, needless to say, I have no intention of admitting to such an outrageous accusation.
Hold it!
Where were you at around 1 in the morning on the night in question, sir?
That is past the hour at which I would normally retire. Certainly, I was not in the company of these rapscallions.
You're able to prove that?
Objection!
Listen carefully, my learned Nipponese friend, for you appear to be under a gross misapprehension on this point.
What do you mean?
The witness maintains he was not at the scene of the crime. He has no obligation to prove his absence. If your accusation is that the witness was present at the scene, the obligation lies with you to prove your assertion. You will fulfill that obligation before putting any more unreasonable questions to the witness.
A silent victory wiggle. Thanks. Yeah? Even if certain parties present claim my blood was found at the scene.
Hold it!
Blood was found at the scene of the crime. There's no question of that. Mr. Sholmes' chemical analysis has positively identified this substance as such. Plus, you can just look at it.
But I am not the only human to have blood running through my veins, am I? How can you be so sure that the blood is mine? It could equally be the blood of one of these two miscreants.
Every individual's blood has a slightly different composition, it seems. Mr. Sholmes' chemical is able to differentiate between...
Spare me the science lesson. Who is this Sholmes character anyway?
Bro! Oh, I assumed all Londoners would know the name. He's a renowned detective.
So, even you are unable to bring yourself to say great detective.
A great detective, you say? Now we're in the realm of fairy tales, aren't we?
What do you have to say to that, Mr.
Excuse
Skulkin?
me.
Do you have something to add to that, Mr. Skulkin?
What? Me?
No, the Mr. Skulkin next to you.
Right, I've had up to hell with this. How many times have I got to tell you?
Yes, I know, you're not Brig Bruv Sulky. Mr. Nash Skulkin.
God blimey, Governor. You what?
Is it not the case that when Mr. Graydon just spoke, a thought went through your mind? Would you care to share that thought with the court?
My thoughts? I don't have none of them. It must have been him. You what?
Mr. Nash Skulkin, answer the question, please. What went through your mind when Mr. Graydon just spoke?
Nothing. Honest God, nothing. I was just thinking,
If we wave his arm like that much more, it'll open up the wound again, that's all. What wound? Well, we took the bullet, of course. It was only 2 days ago. It ain't gonna be healed up yet. So I was, well, you know, I was worrying for him, and... I'm sorry, what was that?
oh, hell's bells.
Mr. Graydon, did you hear that?
What?
Your comrade is worried about you, it seems. On account of your injured arm.
My lord?
Yes, Mr. Graydon?
I have no idea what these two wretches are talking about. Certainly, I shouldn't be expected to answer anything in relation to their mindless insinuations.
We know that someone other than the victim was hit by a bullet at the scene of the crime 2 nights ago. And from the height of the bullet hole in the wall, that person was likely hit in the upper arm or thereabouts. Perhaps you'd allow a court official to examine your arm, sir? The left arm you're currently clasping with your right hand as if in pain? No, I refuse. You have shown no evidence whatsoever that links me to these common thieves. Accordingly, I am not obliged to permit any such invasion of my privacy. You're literally holding your arm. As I've already said, I'm completely uninvolved in this. I've never had anything to do with the pawnbroker where this fellow was killed whatsoever. I take offense of the insinuation that I was in any way involved.
You claim to have had nothing whatsoever to do with Mr. Winterbank's pawnbrokery?
My lord, the defense would like that last statement to be added to Mr. Graydon's formal testimony.
Very well, counsel. Continue with your testimony, Mr. Graydon.
Well, this should be easy enough. You never had anything to do with the pawnbrokering establishment? Dude, we have the... okay, if I'm not smoking gun, but smoking disc right here.
Objection!
Have you ever seen this disc before, Mr. Graydon?
Why? Is it supposed to mean something?
This disc was, until the day of his murder, in pawn in Mr. Winterbank's shop. It was redeemed by the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade, that afternoon. However, somebody mysteriously appeared and tried to take it from her. That somebody was you, of course, wasn't it, Mr. Graydon?
As I have reiterated numerous times now, you are mistaken. That was not me. I've never seen that disc before in my life.
It may have escaped your notice, but there was a small smear of blood on the disc.
Ah, yes. Resulting from an abrasion of the thumb, perhaps?
That's right. The surface of the disc is now covered in hundreds of tiny little metal spikes, not bumps, spikes. In the skirmish to acquire the disc, the thumb of the person who tried to take it suffered minor lacerations. So, while the disc bears the remnants of that skirmish in the form of this smear of blood, the thumb of the person in question must bear the remnants also in the form of a scratch.
Good gracious, indeed it must.
Mr. Graydon, you refused to allow a court officer to examine your arm before. Are you now going to refuse to allow us to examine your thumb? Because I have no doubt that it bears a small scratch consistent with the smear of blood on this disc.
Well. It would seem I underestimated you.
What is the meaning of this?
So you admit it now. You admit you have a scratch on your thumb from when you attempted to take the disc from the defendant.
Order! Order! Well, Mr. Graydon? It would appear that there has been something of a misunderstanding here. I did not attempt to take the disc as you put it. No, quite the reverse.
What are you trying to say?
It's really quite simple, you see. The disc was mine from the outset. Is there some crime in taking an item you own out of pawn?
What? Bro, it literally says McGilton on it.
It would seem, Mr. Graydon, that in this piece of evidence my learned friend has established a link between yourself and the incident. Accordingly, you will tell the court everything you know about this disc now.
As you wish, though I'm quite sure of it.
Oh god, okay, here we go.
Though I'm quite sure it has nothing whatsoever to do with the pawnbroker's murder.
Alright, that's where we'll end things off now, yeah. Sorry, I'm like really tired now. It is like, what, 10:51? I'm recording this an hour later than I normally do because I was supposed to record this, but I had some stuff to do, so yeah, whatever. Anyways, next time we are going to hear the rest of Ashley Graydon's testimony. And yeah, so I will see you all next time.